Be me. Conscript on the Zaporizhia defense line. July sun burns through faded camouflage. Sweat stings eyes under heavy helmet. Digging trenches in the hard, dry earth. Blisters pop and bleed on dirty hands. Air smells like diesel and rotting meat. Flies buzz around the waste pile. Haven't slept in 3 damn days. Water ration warm and tastes like rust. Sergeant checks his radio for the 10th time. Static hisses from the black plastic box. Everyone is silent and staring at nothing. Horizon shimmers in the heat haze. Birds stopped singing hours ago. Deep rumble shakes the ground beneath boots. Dust falls from the trench walls. Grip the rifle until knuckles turn white. Heart hammers against the rib cage. Look at the kid next to me. He is shaking and muttering a prayer. Eyes are wide and full of fear. Tell him to shut the hell up. Voice cracks from the dry throat. Distant thudding gets louder and faster. Sky turns gray with rising smoke. Radio suddenly screams with frantic voices. Incoming fire reported on all sectors. Drone buzz cuts through the humid air. Sound is like a swarm of angry wasps. Look up and see the black dots. They dive towards us like birds of prey. Sergeant screams to take cover now. Dive into the mud at the bottom. Earth explodes, showers dirt and shrapnel. Ears ring with a high-pitched whine. Taste of copper fills the mouth. Dust cloud chokes the lungs instantly. Cough and spit out black phlegm. Try to wipe the dirt from eyes. Hearing comes back in dull throbs. Screams of the wounded pierce the air. Look over the edge of the trench. Horizon is burning with orange fire. Tanks crawling forward like steel beetles. Artillery shells whistle overhead constantly. Ground jumps and throws me back down. Helmet straps dig into the chin. Realize the whole front is collapsing. No orders coming through the radio anymore. Just static and the sound of dying. Fear turns into a cold, heavy stone. Check the magazine in the rifle. Hands are shaking too much to load. Kid next to me is gone now. Just a red stain on the wall. Stare at it for a second. Brain refuses to process the sight. Focus on the sound of tracks. They are getting closer every second. Need to move or we'll die here. Legs feel heavy like lead weights. Force the body to stand up. Peek over the parapet once more. Waves of infantry moving through the smoke. They look like shadows in the haze. Bullets snap and crack above the head. Duck back down into the filth. Breathe in the smell of cordite. This is the end of the line. Nowhere to run in this open field. Sky is filled with flying death. Drones hunting for anything that moves. Hide under a piece of corrugated metal. Pray they do not see the heat. Metal vibrates against the spine now. Engine noise fades into the distance. Drone buzz remains like an insect. Air tastes like copper and ash. Sweat stings the cuts on face. Vision blurs from the sheer exhaustion. Fingers grip the rifle stock tight. Knuckles turn white under the grime. Stomach twists with a sudden cramp. Thirst is a dry razor blade. Water canteen is empty and dry. Lick the dry, cracked lips slowly. Dust coats the tongue like chalk. Shadows lengthen across the ruined earth. Sun dips below the broken horizon. Temperature drops with the fading light. Cold creeps into the marrow deeply. Shivering starts in the lower back. Teeth chatter against the will now. Listen to the silence returning slowly. Silence is worse than the noise. Silence means they are watching closely. Shift weight to relieve the hip. Gravel crunches loudly under the boot. Freeze instantly like a frightened animal. Hold breath until the lungs burn. Look up through the rusted hole. Single star visible in gray sky. Drone motor whines somewhere up there. Cannot see the machine in dark. Red light blinks in the peripheral. Panic rises in the chest again. Push the face into the dirt. Smell of rotting meat is close. Realize the source is nearby now. Do not look at the corpse. Focus on the rhythm of breathing. Inhale the cold, damp night air. Exhale slowly to stop the shaking. Legs are numb from the position. Blood flow is cut off completely. Need to move the limbs soon. Muscles will lock up if still. Crawl forward on elbows and knees. Sharp rocks cut through the uniform. Drag the rifle through the mud. Keep the profile low to ground. Scan the darkness for movement ahead. Everything looks like a crouching enemy. Wind whistles through the rebar skeleton. Sound mimics a human scream nearby. Heart skips a beat at that. Force the eyes to focus harder. See the outline of a wall. Aim for the concrete barrier ahead. 10 meters feels like 10 miles. Body is heavy with fatigue now. Every inch is a new struggle. Reach the cracked concrete barrier wall. Press back against the rough surface. Breathing sounds loud in the silence. Check the chamber of the rifle. Metal feels like ice against skin. Look over the jagged wall edge. See the sprawling wasteland down below. They call this place the pit. Fitting name for a living hell. Fog swirls around the rusted towers. Wind carries the scent of decay. Mud hardens into sharp frozen ridges. Temperature drops rapidly with the night. Shadows stretch long across the ruins. Drone buzzes overhead scanning the ground. Red eye sweeps over the debris. Duck back down behind the concrete. The machine passes without stopping. Close call sends shivers down spine. Need to move before it returns. Target is located in Sector 4. Navigation display flickers on the wrist. Battery is dying in this cold. Move sideways along the barrier line. Boots crunch softly on the frost. Scan the perimeter for the guards. Silhouettes move in the distance mist. Soldiers of the new regime patrol. Black armor blends with the dark. Grip the weapon tighter in hands. Knuckles turn white from the strain. Slide down the embankment cautiously. Debris shifts under the heavy weight. Noise echoes through the empty alley. Freeze in place and hold breath. Wait for a reaction from shadows. Silence returns after a long moment. Push forward into the urban maze. Buildings lean like broken skeleton teeth. Windows stare back like dead eyes. Feeling of being watched is constant. Not just cameras, but something else. The network is alive in here. Paranoia scratches at the mind's edge. Focus on the mission objective now. Find the prisoner before the dawn. Dawn is still hours away from now. Frost bites through the thin fabric layers. Scar tissue aches on the lower back. Reminds me of the chair and voltage. Sebastian's face burns in the memory. Shake the image away with sudden force. Focus on the concrete wall ahead. Barbed wire glints in the pale moonlight. No way over without alerting the sensors. Need to find a breach in security. Crouch low behind a rusted dumpster. Rats skitter over the frozen garbage piles. Envy them for being so small. The network hums in the heavy air. Can feel the static on my skin. It searches for a mind to read. My silence is a beacon to them. Must move fast to avoid detection. Spotted a drain pipe near the corner. Dark opening swallows the faint ambient light. Crawl inside the suffocating concrete throat. Smell of rot and old chemical waste. Knees scrape against the rough stone floor. Water seeps into the worn boot soles. Breath comes in short, ragged gasps. Ribs throb from the last beating taken. Keep moving forward into the deep dark. Tunnel leads under the main sector wall. Light appears at the far distant end. Exit into a courtyard full of crates. Supply depot for the re-establishment forces. Searchlights sweep the ground in steady rhythm. Time the movement with the light beams. Dash across the open killing ground. Slide behind a stack of metal containers. Heart hammers against the bruised chest wall. Safe for a fleeting second of time. Check the wrist display for target signal. Pulse is weak, but it is there. Target is held in the lower levels. Underground containment for the high-value assets. Clara's face flashes in the mind's eye. Do this for her or she dies. Grip the knife handle with numb fingers. Blade is cold against the palm skin. Guard approaches from the left side, blind. Heavy boots stomp on the cracked pavement. Black armor reflects the overhead arc lights. He stops to light a cigarette now. Smoke drifts into the hiding spot air. Hold breath until the lungs start burning. Muscles tense up for the lethal strike. No choice but to take him out. Lunge forward out of the shadows. Hand clamps over the helmet's vocoder. Drive the blade into the exposed neck. Hot blood sprays over the frozen ground. Body goes limp in the heavy arms. Drag the weight back into the dark. Strip the keycard from the dead vest. Hands are shaking from the adrenaline rush. Hate the feeling of taking a life. Push the guilt down into the dark. Swipe the card at the heavy door. Light turns green with a soft chime. Slip inside the warm, sterile hallway. Contrast is sharp against the outside cold. White walls burn the tired eyes. Cameras swivel on the high ceiling mounts. Stick to the blind spots on floor. Corridors stretch out like a maze. Screams echo faintly from the deep vents. Sound like the sessions with Sebastian. Bile rises in the throat instantly. Swallow it down and keep walking. Destination is the detention block 4. Number is burned into the memory. Pass a window looking into a cell. See a figure slumped on the floor. Not the target, keep moving forward. Reach the heavy blast door at end. This is where the signal leads. Swipe the second card to override lock. Hydraulics hiss as the steel seal breaks. Step into the room with weapon raised. The air is freezing inside this chamber. Tanks line the walls filled with fluid. Floating bodies drift in the blue suspension. This is Klaus's personal ice bath collection. Stomach turns at the sight of them. Scan the faces for the one needed. There is James floating in Tank 3. Eyes are closed and skin looks pale. Tubes connect to his neck and spine. He is the key to saving Clara. Need to wake him without killing him. Console nearby controls the suspension fluid drain. Fingers fly across the holographic touch keys. Alarms trigger silently on the wrist display. Klaus is watching through the camera lens. Can feel his amusement in the air. Fluid level begins to drop in tank. James gasps as the air hits him. He falls to the wet metal grating, coughing up the blue liquid from lungs. Grab his arm and hoist him up. No time to explain the situation now. Door behind us begins to cycle lock. They are sealing us inside this tomb. Look for another way out of here. Vent overhead is the only possible exit. Boost him up towards the open grate. He is heavy and weak from stasis. Shove him through and climb up after. Soldiers burst into the room below us. Bullets spark against the metal vent cover. Crawl through the dust in narrow space. The hunt has officially begun for us. Dust coats my throat like broken glass. James wheezes, struggling to keep the pace. Blood trails behind us on cold metal. His skin burns hot against the steel. Below us, heavy boots stomp on concrete. Light slices through the great spaces below. Shadows dance on the narrow tunnel walls. Grip his wrist and pull him forward. No room to turn or look back. Panic rises in the tight metal throat. Keep moving or we die right here. Sweat stings eyes in the suffocating heat. Sudden mechanical whirring sounds ahead of us. A drone hovers near the vent opening. Red laser sweeps the darkness for movement. Freeze instantly and hold breath in chest. James suppresses a cough with shaking hands. The red eye scans over our heads. It buzzes and turns away slowly now. Exhale slowly and inch forward once more. Knees are raw and bleeding through pants. The tunnel angles sharply down into blackness. Slide down the chute into unknown depths. Gravity takes over and we fall fast. Crash onto a pile of old wiring. The impact knocks the wind from lungs. James groans in pain beside my shoulder. We are in a lower maintenance sector. Pipes hiss steam into the humid air. Red emergency lights pulse on the walls. The smell of ozone and rot lingers. Drag James up to his trembling feet. He looks like a walking corpse now. Blue fluid still drips from his nose. We need to find a medical station. Or a weapon to defend ourselves with. Footsteps echo from the corridor to left. Pull him into the shadows of machinery. Two guards walk past with rifles raised. Their visors glow green in the dark. Grip the wrench found on the floor. Wait for them to pass our position. Heart hammers against ribs like a fist. They stop and scan the area slowly. One soldier turns towards our hiding spot. Adrenaline floods veins with cold electric fire. Lunge out and strike the helmet hard. Glass shatters and the soldier goes down. The second one raises his black rifle. Swing the wrench into his knee joint. Bone snaps with a sickening wet crunch. He screams and falls to the floor. Silence him with a final heavy blow. Grab the rifle from his dead hands. Check the magazine and chamber around. Give James the sidearm from the belt. His hands shake too much to aim. Better than nothing in this hellhole. Move quickly towards the heavy blast doors. Keycard from the guard swipes the lock. Hydraulics hiss and the door slides open. A massive laboratory stretches out before us. Rows of tanks filled with green liquid. Shapes float inside them in suspended animation. This place is a factory of nightmares. Klaus's voice booms over the intercom system. His laughter grates on every raw nerve. He mocks our attempt to escape fate. Monitors flicker to life on the walls. They show Clara trapped in a chair. Wires connect to her temples and wrists. She screams in silence on the screen. Rage boils over and vision turns red. James stares at the screen in horror. He recognizes the room she is in. It is the Central Processing Core hub. We are on the wrong level entirely. Need to go up 3 more floors. Alarms begin to wail throughout the complex. The tanks around us begin to drain. Something is waking up inside of them. Pale hands press against the glass walls. Eyes open with no soul inside them. They are the failed experiments of Klaus. Shatter the glass with a rifle butt. No time to fight them all now. Run for the elevator at the end. Glass explodes outward as they break free. Wet feet slap against the tile floor. Screeching howls fill the air behind us. James stumbles and falls hard on face. Turn back and fire into the horde. Bullets tear through pale flesh and bone. They do not stop or feel pain. Grab James by the collar of shirt. Drag him into the open elevator car. Smash the button for the upper level. Doors close just as claws reach in. Metal screeches as they scratch the paint. The car begins to ascend too slowly. Check the ammo count in the rifle. Only half a magazine left for us. James is bleeding from his nose again. His eyes roll back in his head. Slap his cheek to keep him awake. He mutters something about the blue code. The code is inside his own blood. That is why Klaus wants him alive. The elevator jolts to a sudden stop. The lights flicker and die out completely. We are trapped between the facility floors. Pry the doors open with the rifle. A concrete wall blocks the way out. Look up at the emergency hatch above. Boost James up towards the ceiling panel. He pushes it open and climbs through. Follow him up onto the elevator roof. The shaft stretches up into infinite darkness. Cables hum with high-voltage tension nearby. A ladder runs along the shaft wall. It is rusted and looks very unsafe. Jump across the gap and grab rungs. The metal groans under the sudden weight. Reach back and help James jump across. He slips and almost falls to death. Catch his hand at the last second. His grip is weak and clammy cold. Haul him onto the ladder beside me. We climb hand over hand in silence. Muscles burn with lactic acid and fatigue. A door above opens with a clang. A flashlight beam cuts through the dark. Soldiers are waiting on the upper landing. Press flat against the cold shaft wall. They shine the light down the center. They do not see us in shadows. Wait for the beam to move away. Resume the climb with quiet, desperate speed. Reach the vent grate near the top. Kick it inward with a heavy boot. Crawl into the ventilation system once more. This duct is wider and pushes air. The fans are massive and spinning fast. Must time the movement through the blades. Watch the rhythm of the spinning steel. Go now before the pattern changes speed. Dive through the gap in the fan. James hesitates and looks at the blades. Shout at him to move right now. He jumps and clears it by inches. The fan speeds up to lethal velocity. We are safe for a brief moment. The duct leads to the server room. Can see the blue light through grate. Clara is close, I can feel it. Kick the grate out and drop down. The room is cold and hums loudly. Servers tower like monoliths in the dark. Sneak through the aisles of blinking lights. See the chair in the center room. Clara is slumped forward against the restraints. Rush to her and check for pulse. Skin is warm but she is unconscious. James limps over to the control console. He types in the override command codes. His blood drips onto the pristine keys. The locks on her wrists click open. Catch her as she falls from chair. She groans and opens her eyes slowly. She looks at me with pure fear. She looks at James with sudden recognition. Klaus steps out from the shadows clapping. He is surrounded by his elite guard. The trap has been sprung on us. No exit and no ammo left to fight. Klaus smiles and points a pistol forward. He wants James to finish the sequence. The sequence will unlock the weapon satellite. Clara was just the bait for this. James looks at me with dead eyes. He knows what he has to do. He steps towards the console once again. I tighten my grip on the knife. Prepare to make the final desperate move. Muscles tense like coiled steel springs now. I lunge forward with a feral scream. My knife plunges into the guard's neck. Hot blood sprays across my frozen face. The guard gurgles and drops his weapon. Klaus steps back in sudden sharp shock. James slams his fist on the console. The screen shatters into a million pieces. I will not do it, James screams. Klaus fires his pistol at James instantly. The bullet strikes James in the chest. He falls backward over the metal railing. Clara screams a sound of pure anguish. I grab the falling guard's assault rifle. Spin around and spray bullets at Klaus. He dives behind a thick concrete pillar. His elite guards return fire immediately. Bullets spark against the metal floor plating. I slide behind the heavy control desk. Glass shards cut into my palms deeply. Stay down, Clara, I roar over noise. She crawls towards me through the debris. Her dress is torn and stained red. The alarm system begins to blare loudly. Security breach detected. Lockdown in progress. Red emergency lights strobe in the room. The shadows lengthen and twist like ghosts. I check the ammo count on rifle. Only half a magazine remains for us. James is lying still on the floor. Blood pools rapidly around his still body. I feel a sharp pang of guilt. No time to mourn the fallen now. Klaus shouts orders to his remaining men. Flank them, kill them, do it now. 2 guards move to the left side. I pop up and fire 2 shots. One guard falls clutching his shattered knee. The other dives for cover behind crates. My heart hammers against my bruised ribs. The air tastes like copper and smoke. Clara pulls a small pistol from James. She holds it with 2 shaking hands. "I can help," she whispers to me. Her eyes are hard like cold flint. I nod and point to the right. "Watch that flank, shoot anything that moves." The countdown on the wall continues ticking. Satellite weapon activation in 60 seconds. We are running out of time here. "Klaus," I yell out into the dark. "It is over. The console is broken." Klaus laughs from the shadows of room. The sequence was already locked in. My stomach drops like a heavy stone. He did not need James to finish. James only delayed the inevitable by seconds. We are trapped in the target zone. The satellite will vaporize this entire base. I look at Clara with grim realization. She understands without me saying a word. We have to escape this room immediately. But Klaus stands between us and exit. I tighten my grip on the rifle. "Cover me," I say to Clara softly. She nods and aims her pistol forward. I take a deep breath of smoke. Count to 3 in my head. 1, 2, 3, move. I sprint from cover, firing blindly. Clara fires her weapon at the guards. Klaus is forced to keep his head down. I slide across the floor to James. Grab the keycard from his belt. Bullets impact the floor around me. I scramble back to the cover. "Got it," I yell to Clara. The blast door is 10 meters away. It is the only way out. "Run for the door," I scream. We both break cover at the same time. The guards rise up to stop us. I empty my magazine into them. One guard drops, the other flinches. We reach the heavy steel door. I swipe the bloody card in reader. The light turns green with a beep. The heavy mechanism begins to grind open. Klaus steps out and aims his gun. "You are going nowhere," he snarls. He pulls the trigger of his pistol. Click, the gun is empty now. He looks at the weapon in shock. I smile through the blood and grit. "Your turn," I say with cold hate. I throw the empty rifle at him. It hits him in the face hard. He stumbles back, clutching his broken nose. We slip through the opening door. I hit the close button on panel. The door seals shut with a clang. We are in the long corridor now. The siren is deafening in here. 30 seconds to impact, the voice says. We run like demons are chasing us. The floor shakes violently under our feet. Dust falls from the ceiling in sheets. We need to reach the lower levels. The elevator is too slow to use. "Take the stairs," I shout to her. We burst into the emergency stairwell. Leap down the steps 3 at a time. My knees ache with every heavy impact. Clara stumbles, but I catch her arm. "Don't stop, keep moving," I urge her. The building groans like a dying beast. We reach the basement level door. Burst through it into the garage. A heavy Rover vehicle sits there. "Get in," I yell, opening the door. She jumps into the passenger seat. I slide into the driver's side. Hotwire the ignition with trembling hands. The engine roars to life instantly. I stomp on the gas pedal hard. The Rover tires screech on concrete. We smash through the garage exit gate. Daylight blinds us for a second. We speed away from the facility. The sky behind us turns white. A sound like God cracking a whip. The shockwave lifts the Rover up. We crash down and roll over. Glass shatters and metal crumples in. The world spins in a dizzy blur. Darkness swallows me whole once again.